Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Non-League Nutter Natter. First things first, apologies for nothing last week. But neither of us managed to get a game in due to the weather and other things. So we thought, well, not really a lot to talk about. Nothing's really happened. So let's give this week a miss and we'll catch up this week. And that's what we've done. Again, just the two games this week, one each. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to start, as always. We just discussed this. We agreed I'd go first because I didn't really watch my game, so I've not really got a lot to say on it. But again, plans changed for me. Originally supposed to be going to watch Tividale away at Ashby in the FA Vase, which was postponed the week before because of the water. No, because of a frozen pitch. Again this week because of a waterlogged pitch. So we got that.
The ice melted then.
Yeah. The ice melted and the drain was blocked.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's quite a few casualties with the weather again. We'll get onto that again in a bit later on. So surprisingly, and I was very surprised when I saw one of very, very few games on around by me was Leiston at home. Now, I say surprisingly because anybody who knows Leiston and knows their pitch over recent years would be like, you've only got to spit on it and it's off. So for the amount of rain we had, when the tweet was sent out in the morning saying we don't require a pitch inspection, everyone was like, no, it's going to be waterlogged. Well, it was actually game on, and everybody was like, what? So yeah, that's where I was, Leiston, against AFC Rushden and Diamonds. Now, when I say top of the table against bottom of the table, historically, you would think that it'd be Rushden and Diamonds at the top of the table, and given it's Leiston's first season at Step 4, they'd be towards the bottom of the table.
Mm-hmm.
But as things are, it's the other way around. Rushden and Diamonds went into the weekend sitting bottom of the table, I think, with 4 points, which I think have all come from 4 draws. And Lie were sitting, I want to say third, it could have been fifth. It was third or fifth, either way. But the two teams who were above them, which were Spalding and Harbour Town, they were both postponed, so if they won, they went up. So, yeah. I actually managed to see the first 6-7 minutes or so without being interrupted, as I hadn't spotted someone at that point, and it actually started quite brightly for Rushden and Diamonds. They had a very good chance in the first 30 seconds. Where the ball out to the left, whipped low into the box, and the defender just managed to get there ahead of the forward and clear it away. They probably then had the best of the play for the next few minutes, and then Light started to get into it. Didn't really create much, but then it became a bit of a not a nothing game. The pitch, although it was playable and still looked good at the end, it was heavy.
Right.
So it was one of those crappy weather, hard fought, middle of the park, trying to play football but we can't play football games. But yeah, then all of a sudden looked over my shoulder and behind me was Steve from Tividale and Dave King, the old Tividale manager, who's now at Cornwall. I thought, oh, hello. So then as it is, I'm not seeing Dave for probably about 6, 7, 8 weeks, so we've got talking. And then the game kind of becomes you're half watching the game, you're half having to catch up. Even Steve, although he was with Tividale haven't played for 2 weeks. And he was away for the last game, so we hadn't seen each other for a few weeks, so it just ended up being more of a catch-up and watching the game, but not really concentrate too much on what's going on. One thing that was obvious is that Lie were starting to take control of the game, creating a few chances, nothing major. A couple of hard decent saves by the keeper, but nothing that was really troubling him. And then it looked like it was going to be 0-0 at half time. But then on 42 minutes, I believe it was, Lie crossed the ball into the box. Keeper can't quite grab it, and he's stretching, so he can't punch it away. So he kind of flaps at it. It falls to the Lie player, who just basically knocks it into an empty net. And then 2 or 3 minutes into added time at the first half, like at a corner and they score at the front post. So from looking
Right.
like it was going to go in 0-0, it's all of a sudden it's 2-0 to Lie. And then you think, right, that's it for me. Lie will have a kick on, and it's going to be potentially a hammering. And how the second half started, yeah, it did look like that because Lie picked up where they left off, were attacking, creating chances. A couple of iffy moments at the back for the defence. Defenders and keepers, I'm not sure what's going on. There was a bit of miscommunication at times. Whether it's a few new players in there, new keeper, I don't know, but there was a few iffy moments. Lie had a couple of chances. They probably should have scored, make it 4-0, but they didn't. And then all of a sudden, 15, 20 minutes ago, Rushden and Diamonds wake up.
All right. Hello.
And are causing Lie. They're asking questions. They're not really causing any problems in front of goal, but they're asking questions of the defence and starting to control the ball in the middle third. So obviously, you win the middle third battle. 9 times out of 10, you're going to control most of the game. And that's what they're doing, asking questions. Got to about 10 minutes left. Myself, Dave, and Steve were all talking. So, if they get a goal here, it's going to be interesting. And there was a couple of opportunities where they could have created something kind of wasted. There was one in particular was a free kick in a very good position, too far out to shoot.
Yeah.
But the ball was just where you want it coming in front of everyone. You kind of put it behind everyone.
Oh.
It just kind of killed that and like that. But they did get the goal in the 88th minute, which was probably a little bit too late. Well, it was too late, obviously.
Yeah.
Good move forward, and it was a good low finish. But yeah, they kept going, kept knocking on the door, but they couldn't get that equaliser, so it finished 2-1 to Lie. And Lie is now currently sitting top of Northern Premier League Division 1 Midlands, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a quick word and note on Lie Town, actually. They're actually in a position at the moment where they've only just been promoted to Step 4. So their grade currently doesn't meet the grading. So they've got until March to meet the grading.
Right.
But they're obviously now finding themselves in a position where they could realistically find themselves going up. Whether
At
that
which
be
point they
automatically.
won't reach that grading either. So
Yeah. Whether that be automatically or via the playoffs, it's a real possibility.
Mhm.
Interestingly, saw in a non-league paper yesterday, Sunday, what day were we on Tuesday? It was yesterday, I read it yesterday. Grant Joshua, the manager, is saying, although we're sitting top of the table and we're pretty much halfway through the season, our goal is still survival. So he's very much grounded. He's like, yeah, we're here and we deserve to be here, but we are very much punching above our weight, probably.
Yeah.
But the point I'm getting at is October, November last year, they were in the Midland Football League Premier Division, which is Step 5 to the House League, and they were only, I think it was 8 points above the drop zone at that point. Yeah, and the way it worked last season, there's playoffs now, but last year it was winner goes up automatically. Second is the playoff with the second bottom from the league above. And all of a sudden, they went on this amazing run and managed to finish second.
Yeah.
I think they lost 2 games, maybe 3, from that October-November period until the end of the season.
Bloody hell.
And then obviously they carried that form on and they're sitting top of this. So whatever they're doing down there, they're fitting the formula.
They're doing it right. Whatever they're doing, they're getting something right. So
Yeah. The only disappointing thing from the weekend, considering it was the only game on in the area. I mean, there was a couple of games Wolverhampton way, but that's still a fair sizable distance from Light. It's still a good 45 minutes away. There was only 147 there.
Oh.
Yeah.
You'd like to think people would support other clubs if they can't go to their own. Yeah, but
and don't get me wrong, there was, like I say, we were there from Tudor, myself and Steve. Dave was there from Gornal. Ryan Pratt and his dad were there from Stourport. So there were people there. It's just I would have thought, obviously, Rushden and the Diamonds was their history. They brought a fair few with them.
Yeah.
But I would have thought there would have been a few more there with other games being called off. There was a big game in the Midland League Division 1 between Bilston and OJM, so there could have been a few there, but it was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily Life's fault. I don't get massive gates anyway.
Right. That's true.
I don't think it was many more than they normally get, which was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
So, if you go and get scored off, people, have a look what's on. It's better than sitting in the house.
Have a look and see what else is on locally, and go.
Yeah. And it's always nice to see if there's a new ground you've not been to.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Andrew,
okay, so I didn't go to a game at the weekend. Weather down here was wet, cold, miserable, nasty, horrible, windy. I didn't fancy going to a ground which didn't have any decent facilities, so I stayed at home and watched the telly. So I made up for it last night.
Yep.
A rare Monday night fixture. Well, it's not rare down here. Hitchin Town often play their midweek fixtures on a Monday night if they're at home.
Okay.
So I went to Hitchin Town against Leiston, which is Southern League Premier Central, so step 3 of non-league.
Yeah.
Hitchin are doing actually quite well this season. They're up in the playoffs, having a really good season. You wouldn't have known it after last night's match, but we'll come to that. I'm just going to bring up my match report. So hold on, let's just bring this up so I can see what I'm talking about. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, so it turns up there. Like I say, it's decent facilities at Hitchin, covered stands, decent food. It's a nice place to go. So even though it was cold last night, when you stood in the stands, okay, you're only standing in an open stand. It's got a roof over it, but it feels warm because it stops the wind blowing through. Anyway, so the game gets underway. Bit of backwards and forwards going on for the first 15 minutes or so. 15 minutes in, and the first real chance of any substance comes to Leiston with a corner. So they swing the corner in, near post in swinger, and their number 5 leaps up in between 2 Hitchin defenders, meets it with his head, 1-0 to Leiston.
Oh, okay.
Nice goal. Number 5, Adam Daly-Dennis. We'll give him a name shout out because I've got all the names of the scorers today. So that was 1-0 to Leiston. Okay. So a few minutes later, Hitchin decided they were going to be playing out from the back a lot, which I believe they've had a bit of success with this season.
Yeah.
But Leiston were ready for them. Leiston had a high press. Hitchin couldn't get out of their own half for most of the time. And that was apparent. They did actually, on 20 minutes, they managed to break down and get into Leiston's half, but the attack did break down. Leiston, quick break down the middle, straight down the middle of the patch, through the centre circle, slots it out to the right-hand side, and Jack Langley beats the offside track, one-on-one with the keeper, calmly placed it straight across him into the far corner. Leiston 2-0. It was a nice goal. There was no shouts at the line over offside because it was absolutely clear as a bell that it was onside. It was just a beautiful break and they deserved the goal. So 2-0 up. Oh dear, not going well. Hitchin didn't learn from this. They carry on trying out play out for the back. It's not working. They're given no space whatsoever and they just cannot get it out of their own half. It's beginning to really frustrate the fans at this point. I mean, we're only half hour into the match and they're 2-0 down and already very frustrated because it's just not working and they don't seem to have any other ideas. Well, on 36 minutes, finally, Hitchin get it out of their own half, down the right. Bit of working it past a couple of players and then right down near the touchline, a speculative cross-come shot type from a tight angle. And the keeper manages to just get a touch on it, effectively punches it into his own net. So the goal is given to the Hitchin right back, Kyle Turl. So it's 1 to Hitchin, 2 to Leiston at this point. And that's how we go in at half time. So 2-1 to Leiston, deserved as well. They played a good game. They've basically shut Hitchin out and made the most of their opportunities when they've come. So for the first 15 minutes of the second half, Hitchin have come out and they're being a bit more direct, a bit more
Yeah.
creative than the first half. Still no end product, but they're actually playing it a bit longer because they've realised that the playing out from the back just really isn't working. So they've had to come up with something else now, and the managers obviously had a word and say try something different. Leiston had a couple of corners, both dealt with easily. 68 minutes comes round, and as the referee, well, we'll talk about the referee in a minute, but anyway, there's referees losing touch with reality, frankly.
Yeah.
73 minutes, Leicester managed a shot, but it goes over from 6 yards out. How you miss from that distance when the goalkeeper's looking the other way, I don't know. But they did. A couple of minutes later, they get a corner. It's a complete goalmouth mess. It hits the bar and it's finally cleared by Hitchin. So at this point, Leiston could be having absolutely hammering it. Let's talk about the referee.
Ooh,
Okay,
okay.
the referee seemed to have no problem at all playing advantage,
Okay.
even when there clearly was no advantage to the foul team. So
Yeah.
he'd wave play on, wave play on, wave play on, which you like to see that when there is a genuine advantage
Advantage.
to the team. This
Yeah.
time there wasn't, and he kept on doing. He kept getting shouted at, and a couple of yellow cards went around, which I think were for dissent. Um,
Yeah.
can't think of anything else they were for. And throughout the second half, Leiston were, let's just say, they were incredibly good at the game management, especially the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Other words known as time wasting.
Don't waste it.
Uh, Completely. The goalkeeper was ridiculous in his amount of time wasting, which they're winning. It's understandable. It happens. But the referee should be jumping on this and dealing with it. He
Yeah.
didn't. He didn't at all. And it just got worse and worse. And he still wouldn't deal with it. He was happy to wave yellow cards for innocuous little fouls absolutely nothing. Not real decent fouls at all, just little tiny knocks, and he was waving yellow cards. But he would not deal with the time wasting. So
Mm.
eventually, 89 minutes comes along, and Hitchin are suddenly down to 10 men because they've got a
Oh,
second
okay.
yellow again for a very, very minor foul. But it was a second yellow. I don't know what he got his first one for. Probably shouting at the referee for not not getting things right earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I say, he completely refused to book the licence keeper for his ridiculous time
Don't
wasting.
waste it.
Anyway, we
Yeah.
go into injury time. We've got 5 minutes of injury time. If you count up all the time wasted, we should have 10, but we've
Yeah.
got five. It's still only 2-1 to Leiston. No further goals in that second half. But 3 minutes into injury time, Leiston break quickly, 2-on-2, pass it between them, and bang, it's 3-1. Guy called Jamal Loza, I think is what they said his name was. I haven't actually looked him up. It's a good name if it is Loza.
Yeah.
2 minutes later, um, we've got more fannying about at the back from Hitchin. They've gone back to that idea.
Yeah.
Leiston nick it, and bang, it's another goal. Loza again, it's 4-1, and that's how it finished. 4-1 to Leiston. They deserved the win. They came with a method for dealing with Hitchin's play, and they dealt with it incredibly well.
Yeah.
So, fair play. It's a good game, 5 goals. I enjoyed it. So, yes. But
Yes.
Hitchin are
Certainly.
nearest to a team that I follow. It's the nearest I get to a team that I follow in this area. So, it's a bit of a shame to see them lose. But it was a good
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. And I've only seen them play once, and they lost that game as well. So I don't bring them any luck. So.
No.
Um. But yeah, just touching on the time wasting. We've mentioned this a few times over the last few weeks. It just seems as though the first month, 6 weeks of the seasons, they were shit hot on it, and
Yeah.
everything was getting like. I was watching a game, and the player picked up the ball to set the throw in. He hadn't taken it within 5 seconds, and the referee booked him. We were like, well, I
Yeah.
understand that,
Yeah.
but also that team's losing.
Yeah.
So why would he be time wasting when he's losing?
No, exactly. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So we've had the usual thing with it's a new rule this year. Let's be over the top with it, and then
and then
Come the end of
forget all about
September.
it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, even watching Premier League games, you notice that the injury time is going down again. So
yeah,
it's not as mad as it was at the beginning of the season. So
yeah. And it's
yeah.
like, as well, I think it was our last round of the Vase against Shirebrook. I think Lewis, the keeper, picked up a yellow. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. It was a game where we were. It might have been a cup game against Bewley when we were 3 or 4 up. No, because Lewis wasn't playing in that. Whatever it was, we were 3 or 4 goals up,
Yeah.
and the referee booked him for time wasting. I'm not being funny, but it's 4-0, and there's 5 minutes left.
Yeah, where are you going to get 4 goals in that time, even without time
Yeah,
wasting? Yeah.
just had the time on.
Yeah.
No warning. There wasn't even a warning of come on, let's keep it
Mm.
moving. It was just a bang straight away. Yeah, it's like
Mm.
just at least. Yeah, I get it. If it was 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2 or whatever, but no, it's one of them again, isn't it? It's called common sense, and it's something the FA and IFAB and referees seem to lack.
Yeah, they need to have a look at it, don't they? So yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah, like the
Mm.
handball rule. Just a bit of a sidetrack, but I don't know if you saw Arsenal's disallowed goal on Saturday. The Havertz one
That's all disallowed.
with,
No, I
with
didn't
Matty
see
Cash.
that one.
So the ball comes to the back post. Havertz has hit it towards the goal. It hit Matty Cash on the arm. Then bounced back towards Havertz and hit him. Brushed his hand.
Yeah.
Hit Cash
Oh
on the
yes, I
hand
did
again.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hit Havertz on the arm, but it's hit hand, but it's hit Cash first.
Yeah.
So I understand by the current rule that it's not handball for Cash, but it is for Havertz. But it was more of a handball by Cash than it was Havertz, and it's like
Yeah.
you're killing the game. Yeah,
It's a case of, yeah, come on, let's have some common sense involved here, shall we say?
yeah. It's one of those where if there wasn't VAR,
Yeah.
if that had gone against you, you'd be like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Villa fan in that situation, you'd be like, yeah, you know what, it is, but what's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
And Cash has probably handballed it himself 3 times.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, so
Um, so we both mentioned the weather with our games.
yeah, we have, yeah.
Um, something I know we've spoke about briefly in the past, and I've been saying it for years. And speaking to my mates who run a Sunday league team around here as well. Is it time potentially to seriously consider looking at when the grassroots and non-league seasons run?
Mm,
So obviously currently they follow what the Football League do with the August to May season,
yeah.
April, May, whatever it is. Um, but an idea, which I've said to you in the past, is I personally think it would be better if the grassroots and non-league season runs alongside the MLS calendar. So like March, April, up until October, November time.
Mm,
Obviously, it comes up with its a few little things of okay. So what happens if a non-league team gets promoted to the Football League? I'm like, yeah, there is things you'd have to look at,
yeah.
but I'm sure there are workarounds.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my point is if you ran a league, a non-league session from March to October, if you say, something like that, you finish in October, you've been promoted into League Two, for example.
Yeah,
So you can't enter League Two at that point because they've already started. You won't be
yeah,
then playing between October and the following August.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
one downside.
So
I mean,
that's
another
one downside.
alternative, another possibility is to start the non-league season a bit earlier in July, for example, and
Yeah,
put a month break in the worst of the weather.
potentially.
So that's a
Um,
possibility as well.
but
As we've said in the past, a lot of non-league seasons actually finish early April anyway. So
yes,
even
but
starting when they start now, you could quite easily put a month break in and
yeah,
and
still,
still finish by the end of May, by the middle of
yeah.
May. So that's
The
another option
problem,
as well.
yeah, but the issue we have with the current format is every season this happens as well.
Yeah.
You'll get 1 or 2 teams, maybe 3 or 4 in most leagues, that will get to the last 4 weeks of the season and they've still got 12 games to play.
Yeah.
So they're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. And these, let's not forget, these aren't professionals for the most part.
No.
As you look at step 1 and step 2, you might get some. You might get the odd one in step 3.
Yeah.
But these are people who are going out working 8, 9, 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
and they're expected to play 3 games. Now, professionals kick off because, like we said, devoid with Klopp, the amount of games we've got.
Yeah.
But they're finely tuned athletes, and that's what they're paid to do. And
Yeah.
it gets to the point, like we say, they've got that long left, and like it's April, but the season officially finishes on the 30th of June.
Yeah.
They're speaking to the league saying, push the league back, and they don't. And every year, the leagues going into last week say, yeah, any remaining fixtures, we can push it back a week or 2. Like,
Yeah.
but there's only 3 games left now.
Yeah.
We could have done with you making this decision 4 weeks ago.
That's right, to spread them out more. Exactly.
Yeah.
They do leave the decision to push back the end of the league season very, very late, at which point, like you say, it's pretty pointless. If they said right at the start, right, the season will run from 1st of August to even the 31st of May, with
Yeah.
the expectation that most matches will be done by the end of April, you
Yeah.
know you've got a 4-week balance there. And if you have a really good winter and actually get your games played, then so be
Yeah.
it. You're going to be done by the end of April, all sorted. If you
Yeah.
don't, you know you've got 4 extra weeks to get those extra matches in. And
Yeah.
if you know that
100%.
right from the start, you're prepared for it and you're ready, rather than getting into the sort of like end of March with, like, say, 12, 15 games still to play, and the league's still not saying, well, we've got to be done by the end of April, we've got to be done by the end of April, and then by the middle of April say, okay, we'll give you till the middle of May. By that
Yeah.
point, you've knackered your players, and you're screwed. So
Yeah.
say right from day one, we will run from August to May, and that gives you time to play any fixtures that you don't get done. Or say we'll play August to May, and we will enforce a 4-week break in January, or sort of like last from Christmas until the 3rd week of January or something.
Yeah. And like I say, the reason that I know the major reason being bandied about last year on the Midland Football League is, because we need to get the playoffs done by this date. But, well, no, you don't, because you're not hiring a venue for the playoffs.
No.
It's played at the highest ranking team that's left in the playoffs. It's played at their home ground.
Yeah.
So you're not hiring a venue.
Yeah.
So, as I say, right, yes, go to the end of April, beginning mid-May.
Yeah.
That's when we want the league season done. That then gives us 5-6 weeks to get the playoffs done.
Yeah. That's it, but it shouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Like I say, national league level, so let's step 1 of the non-league, their
Yeah.
playoffs is, that's usually at Wembley now, isn't it? Their playoff, I think.
I think the final is, yeah.
So, and to be honest, they're all professional teams these days anyway, with decent stadiums, etc. They don't
Yeah.
suffer as many postponements as lower down do anyway.
No, you'll see them start creeping in more in step 3, but it's mainly probably step 4 and below where
Yeah,
you'll see the major
exactly.
issue.
Yeah, at which point it doesn't really matter if they finish their playoffs late, because as you say, they're not hiring out special grounds for it anyway.
Yeah. Just over the last 2 weeks, for example, so this weekend just gone, there was a mixture of ours and league games, obviously due to the postponement to the week before.
Yeah.
But from the Midland Football League Premier Division, teams involved, there should have been 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
That was, as I say, a mixture of VARs and a mixture of Premier League games.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 12, only 3 went ahead
Right.
due to the weather and obviously waterlogged pitches. And the week before, I think there was 10 games due to take place involving Midland Premier League teams again, and only 2 took place.
Mm-hmm.
So out of 22 games over the last 2 weeks, only 5 took place.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there isn't data either. They can see data for previous seasons, or even just looking at the last 10 years and say, right,
Yeah.
when a match is postponed,
Yeah.
you could then program your break, your 4-week break, if you're going to have one. You could easily position it to when the most postponements have happened over the last 10 years. You're not going to be guaranteed to get it bang on, but
Yeah.
law of averages say you will cover most of those postponements in that particular 4-week window, whichever it may be.
Yeah. No, definitely. But going back to the MLS style calendar for me,
Yeah,
the major advantage, especially lower down the pyramid, obviously you're playing through the summer. It's going to be hot,
yeah,
understandably, but you're not going to get games called off because it's too hot. You might do if it's ridiculously hot.
yeah. That's rare though, isn't it? So,
But when I say
I,
ridiculously hot, like I'm thinking we had a couple of days or a
on
couple of weeks
40s, yeah,
years
yeah,
ago when it was high 30s, low 40s.
yeah,
But that's very rare. But obviously they build water breaks into it now in the start of the season and the end of the season.
yeah.
If it's ridiculously hot, the
Mm,
referee's got to be given a remit to say, right, we're going to have two water breaks in this half
yeah,
rather than the one.
exactly. Yeah,
Or if he notices, you know what, it is fairly hot, we could do another break. You just say, look, just a quick water break. But the major advantage would be the crowds. There's
that's
no
good.
professional football to watch.
That's a very good point. I hadn't even considered that, but yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, if there's no professional football on, then you're
yeah,
going to get bigger crowds at the non-league stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. The
Yeah.
Premier League and the FA keep banging on, oh, we want to do what we can to help grassroots football.
Mm,
Well, there you go, there's your answer.
yeah,
Well, not the answer, but
it's certainly an answer. Yeah.
you know, a massive help.
Like I say, the only issue you're going to get is at whichever level the crossover
Yeah,
to the winter season happens and the promotion relegation to and from that particular level.
yeah. Then it's like, can you look at, again, like I say, this is just off the top of my head, can you look at potentially step 3 and 2 or 3 and 4? They start like June and run up until January.
Yeah.
So you kind of got staggered at the steps.
Yeah, yeah,
I
you
know.
can certainly stagger the steps. I mean, I think you'll
Yeah.
find step one and step two, the National League and National League North and South, will probably stay in line with the Football League. Um, because, like I say, a
Well,
lot of those are professional clubs anyway.
yeah, definitely. So maybe that's an answer. 1 and 2 stays in line with the Football League.
Yeah,
Like I say, whether you will get some performance, but not too many.
yeah,
It goes down to step 6, doesn't it? FA. Okay.
yeah,
I think below step 6 isn't FA recognised or whatever or something like
yeah.
that.
That's it. That's
Um,
county leagues. Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's it. It's county league. So maybe that's your answer. 1 and 2 stays aligned with your Football League.
yeah,
3 and 4 moves kind of early summer to late winter.
June, June till March or something.
Yeah, to early spring. Yeah, and then step 5 and 6 could go from early spring to late autumn.
Yeah.
Obviously not perfect, but
I mean, you have got the potential then of, like I say, teams going up having a longer break between seasons, teams going down having a very short break between seasons.
yeah, and yeah, there is that. But
But if they don't directly overlap, then so be it.
from experience, pre-season's pretty much non-existent at non-league now. Like when I say pre-season, a break is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah,
So, for example, with Tivadar last year, okay, yes, our season was extended to the 30th of June because that's when the final was. So our last final was the last day of the season.
yeah,
Or the 30th of May, whenever it was. I think June is, no, it's May, isn't it? Because June is the month where nothing happens.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, yeah, it was the 30th of May. So our season was extended to the 30th of May. But we had nothing from the middle of April till the end of May. We were just waiting for that final. But even before we played that final, teams were playing pre-season friendlies,
yeah, yeah,
and that
yeah.
season hadn't even officially finished.
Yeah. No, I know. I've done pre-season friendlies in June for the last couple of
Yeah.
years. So.
Yeah, so in all honesty, I don't think, especially lower down the pyramid, probably step 4 below, that would be too much of an issue.
No, probably not.
But
So,
yeah,
but no, there are options there to alleviate this problem of multiple postponements in the middle of the winter. And it does need looking at, absolutely. And
yeah,
we need to come up with some consensus, be it, like you say, staggered starts for different levels or a break. So,
yeah.
or just saying, right, you've got a longer time to play the matches if you need to, and make that decision right from the start of the season rather than trying to make a last ditch effort to get them in at the end.
Or even if you get to the middle of February and you can see there's starting to be a build up to say that at that point there's enough time for them to say you're not going to get those games in by this date. So
Yeah,
you know what, we're going to extend it by 3 weeks.
yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah,
if you've had a really nice winter when everybody can play, then you don't have to do it. So
yeah. Like in all honesty, last season wasn't too bad.
no,
I don't think there was any in Tividale league that had a build up, but I know the league below there was.
yeah,
Um, and there were 2 or 3 teams that are in a position and they're saying to the league, "Can we extend the season?" No,
yeah.
but we've got this many games. I think one team played 4 games in 5 days last
Oh
season.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's ridiculous, isn't it? So
yeah,
okay,
yeah. And the final thing just on this, I've made it to one who goes, "Oh well, everyone has had to get 4G pitches." I'm like, it's not that simple.
no, it's not.
One, you think there are some bad 4G pitches out there.
Hmm.
As in, there's no bench. It's not great to watch, and they're not good for players' knees, ankles, or anything, hips, things like that.
Hmm.
And they're not cheap.
No,
I
so
mean, Tividale have looked at it, but because there's a slope on there,
yeah,
um, they estimated 500,000, and then because the contractors come in to look at it, and they said, well, because of the slope, we've got to. It doesn't have to be completely level, but it's got to be some kind of level.
yeah.
You're going to be looking at close to 1,000,000. And we're like, yeah, we don't have that much. We ain't got 30 quid, so we ain't going to give you 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and the grants just aren't there. As much as I say you can apply for this grant, you can apply for that grant. Birmingham County FA have told Tividale there's no funding available for any 4G facilities for at least the next 4 to 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
So, and in all honesty, as much as I hate 4G, that is the way Tividale needs to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of clubs make money out of their 4G because they can be used when the teams aren't playing and
yeah,
without detriment to the ground. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Literally, the only time that pitch would not be available would be the morning or the day of a Tividale game, because
yeah,
Midland Football League rules prevent anything from being on that pitch on the before that game,
right.
even if it's 4G.
Yeah.
So for the other 6.5 days of the week, they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
It'd just be that Saturday morning.
Yeah.
With Tividale at home, they couldn't use it. If they're away, they can put somebody on there all day.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so like I say, as much as I hate them, for a club like Tividale, it is the way forward. But unfortunately, it's just
Funding
not
it in the
achievable.
first place. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of funds, moves me on to the next point we've got
Next
this week.
topic. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Obviously, I mentioned Tividale. Well, I was supposed to watch Tividale originally this Saturday in the FA Vase away to Ashby-Ivanhoe, which was rearranged after the pitch being frozen a week before.
Yeah.
Due to the competition rules of the game being postponed twice, the fixture's now been reversed. So
Uh-huh.
this Saturday, it's now, instead of being Ashby-Ivanhoe versus Tividale, it's Tividale versus Ashby-Ivanhoe.
Yeah.
So from the outside, oh, wonderful, home advantage.
Yeah.
From the inside, and knowing how it works, it's oh shit.
Mm.
So for those of you who know how it works, I'm sorry, it's still like teaching the grandma how to suck eggs, but In the FA Cup, FA Vase, FA Trophy, I assume it's the same for the trophy. The home team pays the expenses of the away team.
Yeah.
So it's £2 a mile per car, and I think it goes up to £3 something per mile for a coach.
Right.
So, in all honesty, best case scenario for Tividale is they get a coach.
Yeah.
Because £3 a mile for one vehicle ends up being a lot cheaper than £2 odd a mile for. I think they say a maximum of 5 vehicles, maybe 6, because some of them generally car share and whatnot. Anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't pay the expenses of the fans. We just pay the expenses of the club, of the team and the committee. But yeah, the point I'm getting at is we also have to pay the officials, by the way, which are coming in averaging close to £180 this season because they brought mileage expenses back in.
Right.
I don't know if mileage is included with the VARs. I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah.
But what is normally would be without expenses on it for a league game around about £120. Like I say, the expenses and mileage pushes up to nearer £200. But the point I'm getting at, due to the weather so far this season and other factors, we looked at our fixtures at the start of the season, right, where are we going to get the crowds?
Yeah.
We highlighted Dudley Town. One, they've got a decent following anyway. We are actually on the border of Dudley, and we actually, like I said in the previous podcast, we are actually closer to Dudley than where Dudley Town play. So we highlighted that. We highlighted Northwich Victoria because of the history of the club.
Yeah.
And then we highlighted Congleton Town as well.
Yeah.
We've been told they had a good following and blood, and so we were like, of teams told us, with Church Port, who that way said, they get a decent following.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 we targeted. So yeah, that's where we're going to make most of our money on the gate this season. Those 3 games.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Dudley Town 4th of November. North Victoria 18th of November. Congleton 16th of December. Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
Then chuck into that mix a favourable draw in the Birmingham Senior Cup against Walsall.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh great, another one. So let's start at the beginning with Dudley Town on the 4th of November. Postponed waterlogged pitch.
Yeah.
Northwich Victoria 18th of November. Postponed waterlogged pitch.
Yeah.
Walsall, I think, was supposed to be the Tuesday after that.
Yeah.
Had to be postponed due to their FA Youth Cup the previous week being postponed for a waterlogged pitch. That game took priority.
Yeah.
Walsall then decided to rearrange that game with us for the night their first team were playing.
Yeah.
So obviously some of the fans who potentially would have come to watch that game against us went to go and watch the first team.
Yeah.
And I think I made the comment, a joke to you that night. So the choices for you Walsall fans tonight are Barrow away or Tividale away. I said, I know which one I'd choose. Rushden at home. Because Rushden are at home as well.
Yeah.
And they were playing someone fairly decent in that league. I think it was Chester.
Yeah.
So out of those 3 games for me as a Walsall fan, the draw would be, if I lived in Walsall, that is, obviously there were some Walsall fans over our way, Rushden versus Chester. That would be the draw for me. So that didn't do us. And then Congleton, obviously we were supposed to play them this weekend, but now it's Ashby.
Yeah.
So every single one of those games we targeted, we actually lost.
Yeah.
So
I suppose on most of those, the rearrangements will be Tuesday nights when you won't get the same crowd anyway, as you would expect on a Saturday.
Fortunately, because of there only being 18 teams in our league this season, we've got quite a few free Saturdays.
Right.
So Dudley Town, I believe, I want to say 27th of January. Then we were told Northwich was the 24th of February.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they didn't confirm it with the league, so we're now playing Congleton on the 24th of February, which is Saturday.
Right.
So those two have been confirmed. It's just a Norfolk one.
Yeah,
Obviously, we did play Walsall, but as I say, it was due to the other games that were on that night.
yeah.
Didn't get as many as we could have.
Mm.
Um, Now, we've got a little WhatsApp chat with a few of us at Thibodeau, which is fans, community members, some of the management. And when Leon, who's effectively the chairman, put in the chat saying, right, due to FA rules, it's never been reversed, everyone's going, hey, yeah, and I've gone, does
Yeah,
that mean we've got to pay expenses? There's me, negative Nelly. But,
yeah,
you know, I work in finance, so I'm always thinking about the finances.
yeah.
There's me saying, so does that mean that we've now got to pay expenses? And the reply from Leon was just, yep.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that's off, isn't it? We have to the team that the home team postpones twice because their pitch is unplayable, and so it gets switched away, and yet you've now got to pay the expenses that you didn't have to pay, weren't paying before. It's oh
yeah,
well,
and
them's the
um,
rules, though, aren't they? So
yeah, and I do get it because there's people in the chat going, "Oh, well, home advantage." I'm like, I get that. I said, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying we've got to find the money.
Mm, yeah,
The last round again, because they're like, well, if we don't make any money, we don't pay anything. I'm like, no, if we don't make any money,
yeah,
they just don't get any gate. They just don't get their half of the gate receipts.
yeah,
But we
mm,
still have to pay half of their expenses.
right, yeah,
So if you don't make money and you
yeah,
lose money, you
yeah.
still have to pay half of their expenses.
Oh, God, so, yeah,
Um, I do know the figure we had to pay to Shirebrook, but out of respect for Leon and not saying am I okay to discuss it, I'm not going to say it.
yeah,
If we didn't make a profit, we made a loss.
right,
And unfortunately, for a club like Tiverdale, if we make a loss, that money has to be made up from somewhere.
yeah,
And at the minute, it's coming out of Leon's pocket, and it's not right.
no,
And this is the thing that the playing side of the club don't see.
yeah.
And all they're like is like, but
It's something that
we're
most of
great.
the fans won't see either. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah. So although I get it, that's the rules. But what's stopping us in the next round? Get drawn at home. Although we have been drawn away, but if we get drawn at home,
yeah.
thinking, you know what, we're not going to get massacred for this game. We'll just leave the hose on overnight, walk along the pitch.
Yeah, call it off twice running and get your expenses for going away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
yeah.
mean, if that happens and it's bone dry, there'll be the FA like, well, something fishy here. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Leaving the gate open so the local travellers can come on and drive the caravans around the pitch, and you know what I mean. But
Yeah, all
it
dodgy that.
opens, yeah, it opens the door for that kind of thing.
It does really, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For people with less integrity. Yeah.
So yeah. So at the minute, we are promoting the hell out of this game because we can't afford. Quite frankly, we can't afford it.
Yeah.
Um, the prize money, by the way, people are saying, "Oh, there's prize money involved."
Yeah.
Yes, there is prize money involved, but that goes to the management for the players.
Right.
So the club doesn't see it. That was an agreement between the club and the management.
Right.
So I believe the prize money this round is £1,300 if you
Mhm.
win.
Yeah.
But that, as I say, goes to the management. So
Mm.
we've still got to find the money to pay the officials and
Yeah.
expenses.
Mm.
Um, but yeah,
Mm. Well, there you go.
yeah,
Financial shenanigans going on. Right.
yeah. So yeah, as I say, sorry, we are promoting the hell out of it, and I haven't
Yeah.
promoted
Mhm.
it.
I
um,
can't come. It's too far to travel for me on a Saturday. So, well, it's not too far, but I've got other
we'll
things
pay
to do. So.
expenses.
You don't pay expenses for fans.
Yeah, no. Um, so yeah, this Saturday, third attempt, uh, our third round FA Vase tie. Furthest the club's got in 11 years.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, big
So yeah,
deal
as
then
I
for
say,
the club.
yeah, Tiverdale versus Ashby Ivanhoe this Saturday, 3:00. Beaches, B69 1UL for anybody who wants to put it in the sat nav.
Hmm.
£7 an adult, £4 concession. Under 16s are free with a paying adult.
Get onto
Cash or
Ellis
card.
Platinum. You nearly got there last year. So,
Yep, yep. Cash or card is accepted except for the food. That is cash only. Everything else is cash or card.
mhm.
Everybody's welcome. Please come.
Go for it. Pepper for your Bovril.
Yep, there is. There's pepper for your Bovril.
Good. It
Yeah. Super
sounded
6.
more interesting.
Yeah, Super 6 programmes available.
That's something I forgot to say about the Hitchin game. They had pepper for the
Yeah.
Bovril at Hitchin. I was very impressed.
Hey,
And they
that
played
is.
Belinda Carlisle on the radio as well on the sound
Yeah.
system. So I was treble impressed. So,
Pepper that far safe is very impressive.
mm, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, it's time to move on, I think.
Yeah, did we have any news in the paper? I didn't really have a
there's,
great
there's,
deal of a
there's a
look
couple
at
of
it.
things.
Go on.
Couple of things. Obviously we've mentioned the FA Vase. Start with a draw. Obviously Hamble and Hilltop, whoever you were supposed to watch.
I was supposed to watch that. They actually played Sunday, and they actually moved
Yeah.
the thing to a 4G pitch in Bedfont, just outside Heathrow Airport. So
Okay.
one of the reasons, apart from the weather, I didn't go there because I've got an crappy old banger, which you keep telling me to sell and buy a new one, but it's not
Yep.
ULEZ compliant, so it would cost me an extra £12.50 just to bloody drive there. So I didn't bother.
Yeah.
Hilltop won, which means I'm
Yeah.
still stuck in the ULEZ zone for next round because Hilltop are at home again. And they've got
Yeah.
Erith. So even if they were
Eric.
away, Erith is in the ULEZ zone as well. So either way, it's if I go to that game, which I'm going to intend to go to,
Yeah.
it will cost me that extra £12.50. So there we go.
Yeah. And just while we're on the cost of things, I forgot to mention it was £10 to get in at Live, which is what I expected for step 4.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Tividale have been drawn away if they get through this round.
Yeah.
To Stourport Swifts. So, in all honesty, that wouldn't have mattered if they're at home because the expenses would have been non-existent because Stourport is 15 mile away from us.
Right.
So if it's a local draw, that's fine. We can play at home.
Yeah.
But if it's a long one, we're like, no, thank you.
No.
But standout tie, which I think is potentially an option for you if you don't want to pay £12.50 for your crappy banger,
Yeah.
was Farnham Town and Bridgewater United.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you did mention that on
Yeah.
Farnham. Still storming their league. And yeah, so that'd be a good one to go to. So there's a possibility I might do that instead of Hilltop then. But we shall see.
Yeah. That was a standout tie. The FA Trophy draws also gone ahead
Yeah.
this week. I haven't really looked at it, in all honesty. All I know is Waterwood or Colville. They got postponed Saturday for Waterlog Pitch, got postponed again tonight for Waterlog Pitch, but whoever wins that has drawn Bath City away.
Oh, right.
So that's a big draw because I believe that is step 4 going to step 2. Bath City and National
City,
League
yes,
North, I
I
think.
believe that's step 2 because they played Hemel the other week when I went to see them. So yeah,
Yeah, sorry, National League Safe. Oh, is that North or Safe?
South.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of safe teams in the North this year because the amount of safe teams that have been
No,
promoted last
Bath
year.
and Hemel are definitely in the south.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be step 4 for 2. So that'll be an interesting one.
well,
Other than that, I don't know any other games that have been drawn. I know Kidderminster beat Stourbridge 4-1 at the weekend, so they've progressed.
yeah.
Nuneaton Borough lost on penalties, I believe. Couldn't tell you who to. I'm just trying to remember what I've seen.
Yeah, and I haven't got the
Uh,
paper within arm's reach for a change. So
I have. Let's have a look. Let's make a change. Oldham drew 3-3 with Micklover.
Mhm.
Uh, that's all. That's step 2. Dorking beat Maidenhead 3-0. Trying to see if there's anything. Hereford beat Save Park 1-0. Didn't know Save Park played football. Thought that was a cartoon.
Yeah, I wonder if they've done a deal with the makers of that.
Yeah.
Just imagine Cartman in goal. So,
Chesterfield. Chesterfield beat Southport 6-1. That was a big score.
mhm.
But Chesterfield are flying, aren't they? As we said the other week,
Yeah,
on for the record.
yeah,
Another high scoring match. Chippenham 5, Gloucester City 3.
yeah.
Actually, that's a bit of an upset, isn't it? Gloucester City is step 2.
I think they are.
Where did Chippenham? Tracy West Country Derby. Doesn't say what league they're in, but I don't think they're step 2.
I'm not sure.
Big Live. Macclesfield beat Curzon Ashton 2-0. That's step 4 beating step 2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Macclesfield with all their money, so expected.
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't think there's anything else that's kind of. Oh, no, there's another page.
There's nothing in the paper. I did have a flick through the paper. There's nothing in it that really jumped out at me for worthy of discussion. So
Yeah, no, I think that's it in terms of like standout results and big scores.
yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Major
Chipping are
headlines.
step 2. So
Say again, sorry.
Chipping are step 2.
They are step 2.
Yeah, the National League South.
Well, I never knew that. But that's somewhat of a local derby as well, then, isn't it?
It
Because I
is,
think
yeah,
Chippenham
pretty much. They're not far
between
away.
Gloucester and Bristol, isn't it?
Yeah, Gloucester are National League North and Chippenham are National League South. So.
Yeah. And they're practically next door to each other.
Yeah.
Big news last week, which is probably relate to the game, but Forest Green. No, yeah, it does involve Forest Green, but Scarborough Athletic were told. Actually, although you lost 6-1 or whatever it was in your replay, you're still in the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
As Forest Green were seen to have breached the rule and told to replay their tie.
All right.
Obviously, people who don't read things properly and look at the rules that have been breached, I believe I might get the issue the wrong way around saying, well, why is he any different to Barnsley? So, like I say, I might get the rule numbers the wrong way around. I don't have them in front of me. Barnsley breached Rule 103, whatever letter it was,
Yeah.
of the competition rules, which was fielding an ineligible player.
Right.
And then Forest Green breached Rule 109, whatever letter it was. Like I said, those numbers could be the way around, but those are the two numbers involved.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been 110, not 109. Anyway, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Which was failing to inform the FA that they had permission from the player's parent club that he was eligible to be in their matchday squad.
Right.
So essentially, Forest Green had got a player on loan from someone.
Yeah.
Put him in the matchday squad, which they're entitled to do.
Yeah.
Permission from the parent club, but forgot to tell the FA.
Right.
So they didn't play a player that wasn't eligible for the competition.
So he was eligible for the competition, they just hadn't communicated properly, whereas Barnsley played somebody that was ineligible for the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So, as much as I've slagged off the FA in the past, on this one, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. It does, yeah.
And going back to the competition rules, as we just touched on, of the home team has to pay away team expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the game has been held at Scarborough.
Yeah.
Been told they don't have to pay expenses.
They shouldn't do, not if it's being replayed under those circumstances, yeah. So.
Yeah, due to the circumstances. Also, gate receipts are usually split 50-50.
Yeah.
Again, due to the circumstances, Scarborough get to keep all of the gate receipts.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense as well. They've already had one game where they've had to share it, so.
Yeah. And as I say, that game is currently ongoing. It was 1-1 at half time, last I checked, which was much better than I've heard in the replay. So,
yeah.
And I believe the winner of that tie faces Blackpool.
Right.
Yes, it is, because that was the game that was postponed. Forest Green and Blackpool, and I believe that tie, obviously, because that should have taken place last weekend, is now next Tuesday.
Right.
So yeah, there was that. So more FA Cup rule breaches by a professional club, but we'll let you off with this one.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, that to me seems like splitting hairs. And then there was one final thing: Marsk United, Northern Premier League, whatever division, whether it's set 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They've had their playing licence suspended by the Northern Premier League.
All right.
I think they've been taken over from looking into it, and the owners haven't been vetted. So
Yeah.
the Northern Premier League wants to look into the new owners and whatnot.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit silly, but also, given the way some of the clubs have been run over the last 25 years,
Hmm.
are these checks really fit for purpose?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure they are. So
yeah.
it's a case
Look
of
at your clubs like Scunthorpe, Reading,
yeah,
Southend,
yeah, yeah,
Derby,
exactly.
Bolton, Birmingham, West
Yeah,
Brom at the minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's an
Um,
awful lot of them out there that are failing various things. You wonder how they ever got to be owners in the first place. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And I can tell you the checks that whoever does them, the league or the FA, they're not good enough because there's a team. I'm not going to name them. There's a team in this area. I'm not even going to say what league they're in.
no, fair enough.
There's a team in this area, and all I'm saying by this area is the Midlands, and you can take that as for what you want.
Yeah,
Um, where the person who is pumping money into the club cannot step foot in the UK because he'll be arrested on money laundering charges.
interesting.
He's financing the club in the
Right.
Midlands. So that shows how good the FA checks are. And it's
Yeah,
very well
that's good.
known. It's very well known within the football community. And when I say the fans won't know that, but people who know people in football and the places, everyone knows that. So for the FA to say they don't know that,
Yeah, yeah.
one, you've got to know that because everybody knows about it, and two, what are you checking?
And what are you doing about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
interesting. I shall
Go on.
probe later for more information on that off air. So,
I can tell you off air. I just don't want to.
no, all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Ski. Well,
Yeah.
there we go. That's clears up a fair bit for this week. That's good. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So
I
yeah.
don't think we'll be planning on missing any weeks in the near future, will we? Hopefully the weather's back on track. We'll be able to get to games. So,
Yeah. It's gonna, unless we get another washout like we did last week. I think.
yeah,
Even Christmas, there's plenty of games for us. We've got a game the
absolutely.
23rd, Boxing Day, and the 29th or whatever it is. So at least
Yeah,
one of those three. Well, one of those three will definitely be on because it's Litchfield away and they're playing 4G. So
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, and I'll get to at least one game over the Christmas break. So yeah, so good.
yeah. So I think, as always, is to finish it with plans for the weekend.
Plans for the
Everybody
weekend?
already knows mine.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't actually know where I'm going this Saturday. It's going to be a surprise. So
Okay,
I haven't even looked at it. No, I couldn't tell you. It will be a
fair enough.
surprise. I will go somewhere Saturday. I've got no other plans for Saturday, so I will be going to a game. I just don't know which one or where. So it
Yeah,
might be a throw a dart at a map and drive somewhere, but we shall
different angles,
see.
different out.
I could, well, yeah, if I landed, yeah, I could come up to that way, couldn't I? Yeah, I might be pushing it. I don't know. Depends how the rest of the week pans out. If I'm not too tired by the weekend, I might turn up unannounced. But
Yeah.
other than that, I shall speak to you next time, sir.
Yes. Have a good week.
Y-
Whatever game you find, you find. Hopefully, it's a good one. Hopefully, it's a team playing in yellow and blue.
well, we
Um,
can hope. Yeah, I can always look for that. Yeah, St Albans, they're close by. They always play in yellow. So,
a
but,
little bit further than that.
yeah, yeah. Tipperdale play in yellow, don't they? So there you go.
They do. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well,
Uh,
have fun at your game, and you never know. I might see you there, but somehow I doubt it.
yeah, I doubt it.
All right.
All right. Have a good week.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.